All right, now we're recording. All right, so awesome. So this is a bonus session. All day Sunday, I am chill, unless there's like something going on in our life, like a wedding or a trip, which is typically not what's happening. I'm good. I'm good all day Sunday. I try to keep my weekends very, very lean. In fact, I'm one of those moms that does not say yes to all the kids' birthday parties because why would I accept that as just like my fate in life? I have 3 little kids. That would mean I would be at a birthday party eating cold pizza all day, every weekend. So no. So I try to keep it super lean. So I'm free. Thanks. I love this hoodie so much. So glad you like it. Yeah, Aviator Nation gets me every time. So I'm free all day Sunday. So the only reason I changed that time is because people were emailing me, please don't do that. And I'm like, I have this value of I feel like I'm always I need to be kind and nice. I'm like, what do you need? Fine, fine. So people were speaking up and being a squeaky wheel. And I was like, oh, they're right. We said we were trying to accommodate different schedules and we've done the last 2 at noon. So, okay. So we moved it to 4:30. And then there were a few people who were like, no, not good, not good. And I was like, oh no. And the thing is, I'm here. I'm available. I'm not doing anything. So I'm here. So I said, let's just jump on now. And that way we space it out, beginning of the day, end of the day. But something that would be really helpful is to get a sense of when is the best time for the majority of people. And then I do think it's a good idea to switch it up, right? Because it isn't fair if there's people who never can make it because it's always at noon. So we should probably vary that up. And I did say that we would do that. And so we're going to do that today, but I'm here. So I want to get into some nitty gritty today. And I'm so excited to hang out with you because it's such good energy. I have to tell you, we are just very, very, very pleased with all of you. We talk about you all the time behind your backs about what amazing energy is in this group. And thank you for carrying everybody through what was a really challenging season. John lost his mom really unexpectedly. And that is just really, really sad. And he just showed up and he was super kind and he has so much integrity about his work. And I was like, you really could take 2 months off, you don't even have to show up. He's like, no, but I really appreciate, just all the kindness and appreciation and vibes just helped him through that. And yeah, it was totally unexpected. It's one of those really not fun situations, really hard moments. But I feel like he kept saying that this class was the thing that just kept lifting his spirits. So you guys should feel good about yourself because of that. So let's dive in. He is the real deal. He's a talented and kind, really good in my book. All right, so let's get down to it. So I want to talk about 2 things today. I want to talk about business development, which is going to be critical for you guys. And I want to talk about how you're actually going to achieve all the things that you're setting out to do. So we were, structuring this program so that you would start to lean more into your business development come the second half of the program. But for me, I took an assessment test. It's called the Kolbe assessment. I don't know if you guys have ever done these assessments. There's called the DISC assessment, there's the Kolbe, then those are things that sometimes HR people give you. So I'm very far from any HR office, but my friend had this test and she's like, you should take it. Employers give this to their teams to figure out where people's strengths are. It's like a strength finder. So I took this test and this test shows that you could get a 4 in one category, 6 in one, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 10. And usually people, there's 5 or 6 categories. Usually or people have certain, combinations of different parts. It's called the Kolbe assessment. If you can find it for free online, take it. But I had to pay $50 to take it. Don't take it for $50. I'll give you the juice right now, although I can't tell you what your results would be. But I took the test, and here's what's interesting. So it talks about where people are coming from in terms of how you make decisions and how you actually get work done, what your process is. So I was 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 in all categories except for 1. And everything, I was a 10. So you get 10 points and somewhere you get 2 here, 4 here, 6 here, and then you see which one you're the most. No, I was 0 in everything except for 1, which I was all 10. 10 points. All 10 points went into one place, and it was called Quick Start. Quick Start. Like, I am a quick start. So for me, I am just like, let's go yesterday. That's my thing. And here's the brilliance of being a quick start. And I didn't really get it. I actually, because some of it, you should ask my husband, some of it, the time he's like, slow your roll. And I do notice that, like, sometimes I need to slow down. But here's the really cool thing. How many of you have ever heard of Evan Carmichael? Anyone know who Evan Carmichael is? Yes, a couple of you do. Joey knows. Cool. Evan has about 2 million YouTube subscribers. He's 39 years old. He's been doing this for years. He was a very young entrepreneur. Anyway, I had him on the podcast this past week. He's really, really kind, really down to earth, really smart, really successful. He's interviewed Oprah, Elon Musk, Tony Robbins. He's literally like at the top of his game and such a genuine person. So it's really nice to meet people like that. And he said, successful people start. Okay. So they start. What am I not saying? I'm not saying successful people are perfect. I'm not saying that they have it all figured out. I'm saying that they start. Do you hear me? Really, 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 truly. So the starting thing is actually equal to finding success. There are people who have so much less talent than you, so much less integrity, charisma, and they are busy kicking ass and taking names right now only because they are allowing themselves to start and to lean in to mediocre work. Lean into it. I'm telling you, lean on in, because no one who's successful ever started with really perfect things. No one is born Mozart. No one is born Serena Williams. You remember how that went, right? You know this. So I was going to talk to you guys about business development stuff later on in this program, but I want to talk to you about it now, because I realize for myself, if I'm really helping you reverse engineer what worked for me, and that is what this program is, it's my recipe, right? I was starting already from day one with the end in mind. So I want you to start to do this now. And there are going to be 2 phases to it. There's going to be the phase of business development where you're sending music consistently to music supervisors. And that is going to have to be something that you make a decision to make part of your life. Who's in on that, by the way? Raise your hand if you're in to do that. Yes. And I know it's uncomfortable, and I know it makes you feel a little weird. And we're going to talk today about the best ways to do that. But there's going to be 2 phases here. Okay. There's going to be a phase in a few months, maybe less, depending on whenever you really feel you have the temperature. You take the temperature and you're like, I've got a pace now. I've got a process, and I have a new song that I could send every 2 weeks. You're going to be doing that. But here's the deal. There's a first phase. There's a first phase, which is even more important than the second phase. And the first phase is making the relationships. Okay? Everything in life is access and proximity. Everything. It's all who you know. But here's the beauty of it. Strangers are so much more ready to help you than people you know. True or false? Would you rather call your cousin to ask him about that job, or would you rather call someone you just kind of met? Because I can tell you, in my whole career, whether I was podcasting, music biz, I always knew 1 or 2 people through either a cousin, a friend. Never wanted to ask them. I built my entire career through knowing the right people who I really didn't know and who I made friends of mine. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is what business development is. Every person who sits at a desk, whose job underneath their name, on their name card, it says, Bob Smith, business development. That's what they do. They're making new friends. You become a professional schmoozer. You become a professional friend maker. My entire career is really making friends. Okay? That's it. So there's 2 phases. The first phase is that you have to, number 1, who's your audience? Who is it? Because right now, we're not talking about the audience of fans who are going to watch your clip from your episode or Shazam your song or buy the download. That's your end user. That's the overall audience. We're talking about your B2B. Right now, your business, you're pitching to other businesses. Okay. So business to business. That's where this whole class is B2B, by the way. This is not a class about downloads. It's not a class about getting Facebook traffic. It's not. It's even better. better because the B2B development is such an easier, better way to really raise capital, right? Because if you're going to go, there's a few ways to be a musician, right? Like I can go to the subway platform and I can sing all day and maybe I'm going to come home with $27 and that's probably a good day, right? Or I can make my audience, not an end user who's maybe going to download the track for 99 cents, but instead of going person to person to person, trying to raise $27, $35, $45, $2,000, that'd be a lot, right? Instead of doing that, I'm going to go to a business and make them my client, and they're going to give me 50 grand a pop, 70 grand a pop. If it's a TV show, 3 grand, 5 grand, stuff like that, right? And these are the prices that they set. You're not asking for anything that they don't do. This is what's already in motion. You're asking to be one of many people that becomes a vendor for these folks who already have an entire system where they're looking for indie artists, and this is what they've already decided they pay. So you're not doing anything to convince them to pay this. This is what they do. This is who they need. So you want to just be one of the people that is able to provide what they need. So it's a B2B relationship. So what most musicians don't understand and what they fail to do is understand that you are an entrepreneur. And you're the CEO of your business, right? Your business called Lisa Williams, Dan Peterson, Nikki Robinson. That's your business. You're the CEO of that business. That's a brand. That brand needs to do some business development because that's what every human being who wants to provide a service and value. And I'm saying it that way because that's what sales is. Sales is service. So we have to back into this. First of all, if you don't believe that you are doing something of service, you will not pick up that phone or send that email. No way, because you're a good person. And good people struggle with business development because they don't really understand how to make sure they're in it for the other person. When you know with every cell of your body that everything you're doing is to show up for this other person, even the way you have the call, even the way you write the email, you're going to be really good with it because you're going to think at the very least, I'm going to add a little sunshine to this person's day. Okay? Then I know that the reason I'm reaching out to this person is because I did my homework to figure out the answer to the question I asked you 3 minutes ago. Who's your audience? Who's your audience? So for me, Cathy Heller, the Cathy Heller brand, her audience is not horror movies or trailers. Nah. There might be once in a while a trailer for a romantic comedy. I don't know why I thought of this one, but I just thought of Dan in Real Life because I love that movie and I love Steve Carell and I just saw him on YouTube a second ago. So maybe if there's a trailer for something like that, maybe I could be in that trailer, you know? Maybe what was that movie from the 90s, Can't Hardly Wait? Maybe there could be a Cathy Heller song in the Can't Hardly Wait trailer. But in general, trailer music is ominous, it's edgy, it's dark, it's hip hop, it's moody, it's Sia, it's got some right? That's trailer music. And there's all different kinds of genres of music. Okay, Stranger Things, amazing show. I don't have music for that show. I don't write music for that show. Some of you do. That might be your audience. But you need to know who your audience is. So for me, my audience, Kellogg's, Walmart, Disney, Hallmark, Coca-Cola, Target, ABC Family, Freeform, ABC Primetime, some of the NBC stuff, NBC promos, ABC promos. That's my audience. And really, there's about, let's say, 12 people in the film and TV world who then become my audience. And on the ad side, there's like a core of like 30 ad agencies, 30 people and that's it. That's all. That's my whole work in the whole world, right? So first of all, tell me in the comments, let's get started. Who's your audience? Do you know your audience yet? And it is okay to say, not yet. No, I don't. That is an answer. You don't have to know. Good. You're already being honest. No, I don't. Not yet. Figure it out. Great. Fair. Totally fair. Target, Apple, Starbucks. Okay, cool. Rom-coms. Not sure yet. Okay, fair. So Walmart, Samsung, thinking the ad side. Not yet. Okay, Fine. So you're going to figure this out. This is very, very, very important to really start to think about what the answer to this question is. How do you figure out the answer to this question? You're going to do two things, right? You're going to listen to music. You're going to listen to iSpot TV and TuneFind, and you're going to go and listen to playlists, and you're going to be like, this is the kind of stuff that sounds like something that I could create. This is the kind of stuff I want to create, right? You can start there. Because usually they go together, right? Usually the thing that you want to do is the thing that you're probably best at. And you might shoot for that and wind up somewhere else, but I would say shoot for the thing that feels most exciting, right? Like for me, all those things that I laid out, those are the things that I feel most related to. Okay, so you're going to want to know the answers to that question, all right? And then what you want to do is start making a list. Who are the music supervisors who are working on those projects? There's two camps. You have film and TV music supervisors. You have Madonna Wade Reed and Lindsay Wolfington and Gary Calamar and those folks. And then on the ad side, you have Michael Admin and Eric Rich and all these different guys who sit at the ad agencies. Now those guys, there's two camps of those guys, and some of them are women, but a lot of the ad people just for some reason tend to be men. So for that set of human beings, for the ad world, it's either that there's a music supervisor who works at an ad agency, or the ad agency doesn't have that as a specific role, so they give that job to the broadcast production team, and the broadcast production team is responsible to make sure everything gets done for this particular ad, and one person who's a broadcast producer, they become the one in charge of making sure the music gets found. So you wind up having a really nice pool of people to connect to. And I find personally that reaching out and connecting and doing B2B with ad agencies is so much easier than film and TV, because when you go into IMDb and you look up a show and you scroll down where it says full cast and crew, and you go all the way down and it finally says music supervisor, there's one person's name who's listed there. And that person is the gatekeeper. And sometimes that person has like a couple assistants. Like you met this week, Julian Drucker last week. He works for Amanda Krieg Thomas. She's one of the biggest music supervisors, and there's 3 people in the office, Amanda, Julian, and they have 1 assistant. So Julian is like a go-to person, right? Great. But it's very, very small, because usually in the film and TV world, there's about 60 people who do all of these shows. 60 people whose businesses carry the weight, like all the Marvel movies. This one does these 4 shows on NBC, and then they hire a couple people underneath them. So why is it harder than ad agencies? Because people's names start to get really familiar. If you go to the Guild of Music Supervisors and you look at all the music supervisors, the same people, and it's cool, but it is the same people. So they get a ton of music submitted, okay? If you look at the ad world, it's a bigger web, right? So you're looking at Alex Stern, right? Alex Stern, he worked at Leo Burnett, now he's at DDB. There's all these different ad agencies, and what's really cool is you can get in the door by emailing one of the broadcast producers. And even if they're not the right person, now you just made a relationship with someone who maybe doesn't get music every single day. You get it? And this person can introduce you to someone who on the team is the Alex Stern, right? Now, how different is it if you're cold reaching out to the same person and they're getting tons and tons of music, versus you reach out to someone in business affairs or another broadcast producer, and then you say, Kristen from business affairs, Sharon, who's also, she said that you were the person to reach out to, or maybe Sharon says, let me reach out, you've been so nice to deal with, I'm going to introduce you on their terms, right? On my terms. Makes it a little bit of just a different energy, right? How does it work though? Like all of this stuff sounds very like businessy, and I know that everybody starts to get really scared and nervous. I know because I've been doing this for a long time. And I know because when I was busy, like literally 25, 26, sitting in my like little apartment, emailing and pitching, people were like, I can't believe you do that. And then when I ask even some of our like older, students who've been here longer or alumni, where are you at now with your pitching? They're like, I mean, I've written a ton of songs, but no, I don't pitch them. So we want to look at how to do this well, how to do this now, how to do this before you have an ask. Everything in relationships is about making deposits so that there's literally some kind of actual connection other than a person asking someone for something. Does that just make sense? It just makes sense, right? So when you go and you start to make friends with someone in school, summer camp, college, someone who lives down your block, you don't walk right up to this person and be like, hi, what's your name, Joe? Can you take me to the airport next Tuesday morning? That would be weird, right? You don't meet somebody and say, hi, how do you know Sarah? Cool. Listen, I'm glad I'm meeting you at Sarah's barbecue. I have an amazing business opportunity for you. Can we step over here? I'd love you to invest. That would be weird. In fact, everyone's had one experience like that in your life and you still remember it. You're like, remember that guy? It's like Cousin Eddie from like the Christmas Vacation movie. It's just like, no one does that. That is so weird. It's like a person who's just like completely self-absorbed, and every one of us knows someone like that, right? You're like, this person just like doesn't see. However, when we go to think about sales, we think that it's our job to meet someone we don't know and convince someone to do something they don't want to do, which is why most people go, I would never do sales. And they don't get what sales is. And we've all met really bad salespeople who do that. You pull up to the lot, you're going to drive a car, and this person comes right after you, and they like don't ask you a question. They're just like, you know what we have out a lot? It's brand new. And you're looking at this person like, I have 3 children. I don't need a coupe convertible. Like, did you even stop to ask or think or know or serve me? Or are you just like pitching something because you're terrible? And then when you meet that person who's like, I've been in Honda for 35 years. You're like, that's why you've been here for 35 years, because this is not the way to sell anything, right? Like you wouldn't still be on, that's not like something to be proud of. Like unless like you've advanced because you actually know what you're doing. And then now you're teaching other people how to do that, right? So sales is not selling people, right? People actually are easy to sell to when we give them what we know they need, and when we already have some level of trust and connection with this person. So what we have to understand is you genuinely, I know because you're here, value the opinions and the positions of all these folks who are choosing music. I know because you're so excited every time they come into the program. You respect them. You're interested in what they have to say. You genuinely would love to have, like if I could wave a magic wand and be like, I'm going to give each of you 11 friends who are music supervisors, you'd be like, what a gift. Like, yes. And why? Because they're really truly music fans. That's what their job is, finding music, making playlists. They are helping indie artists, right? And they work on cool things all day long, finding music for the right things. And it's neat. And you probably respect the fact that they have that position. Like there's lots of reasons why you genuinely like these people. It's not fake. So now your job is to connect and make a relationship, which I imagine, I don't know what the data would be, but each one of you has done that successfully thousands of times, made relationships with people that work. You've made relationships that have connected and worked. There's been a working relationship between friends, family members, colleagues. You've done that so much of your life without trying to get anything from anyone. You just know how to do that. You've sat on a plane, you get off the plane in Dallas, you're like, I just met this really nice person. Maybe next time I'm in Dallas, I'll look them up. You go to Club Med, you meet a new family. You go to the first day of work, you meet someone in orientation. They wind up working somewhere else, you start meeting for lunch. You've made friends. You know how to do this. You had a best friend in 2nd grade or 5th grade, and then they moved away. You stayed pen pal. You know how to make a friend. This is the job of people who are really good at business. You first create the trust. You don't ask for anything. A, B, G, always be generous. And then you anticipate and you seek to serve them. And you seek to serve them. We are built to serve. We are built to serve. The part of our brain that lights up more than anything else, more than sex, more than food, you want to contribute. I promise. They've done the research on it. It's pretty freaking amazing. I don't know any other species or living thing in the world that wants to serve more than a human being, which is why we really care what people think, which is why we're super connected and we can't be isolated off on a mountain for very long. We want to serve each other. So that's all you have to do. Make a friend and serve them. Make a friend and serve them. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Now, how do you do that? Well, you don't send an email asking for them to listen to your music. That's like the 7th email. 7th email, okay? What's the first email? Start to make a connection. Think about being personable. Don't talk about yourself, because you don't do that in real life. You don't. I know you don't, because you're in my program and you connected with me and you were drawn to this. And that's how life goes. We're magnets for things that are like us. Water seeks its own level. That's how it goes. So we connect because you are genuine and you don't talk about yourself. And you love that the whole approach, you could have done this with anybody. There's a lot of people who've licensed music. You're like, I like that Cathy's whole thing is like empathy. She's super genuine. So that's how you are. You only see in other people what you have in yourself, by the way. Seriously. So you want to think about what kinds of things can you start to do now just to plant seeds when there's no pressure, when you're not burning to try to get this song in someone's hands because you love it so much. This is the perfect time. Start to think about who these people are, and then think about ways that you can interject soft, sweet, personal, quick emails into their day. Hey, Alec, first of all, backing up, anytime somebody comes to speak in the class, there should be an email sent from you. I just want to send you some appreciation. I got nothing to ask you for. That was amazing. Do you not think that people appreciate that? People appreciate it. Now, here's a cool thing. Every single time you send somebody an email, you're trying to make a relationship. So you want to have in there a very simple, specific CTA. It's a call to action. That call to action should be something that's fun, that would develop a rapport, that has nothing to do with you asking them for work or you giving them homework. Listen to my music if you can. Love to know what you think. Love to get some feedback. Why is that their job? They don't know you yet. And even if they do know you, is that someone's job? It's not, right? We don't want to make that their job because they have lives. They have kids that have to go to the, parties after school. They've got a dog that has to go to the vet. It's so not other people's job to be waiting and hoping that they get extra work from strangers. You wouldn't do that, right? It's not really fair. So it doesn't work. So most people, they wait. They do no business development. This is like the guy that is like, let's take you home to your place. And you're like, I don't know you. Like, we haven't gone to dinner. Like, I don't even, what's happening, right? You want to sort of literally connect to this person first. So you want to think about all the time between now and this time where I'm hoping that your goal is that by the end of the 6 months, you have an EP that you're really proud of. And that it really has anticipated the needs and the themes of sync songwriting, and that you really worked and honed your craft, and you've written a bunch of songs and you picked 5. Now that might not happen for all of you, right? Because you got to do that work, right? I can't go through the computer and make that happen. But maybe you'll have 3 songs you're really proud of. Okay, I'm hoping you have a full EP. Maybe you have 3, maybe you have 5, but maybe you can even set a goal that you have that by the end of, I don't know, February or March, whatever it is, you are working toward that. But while you're working toward that, wouldn't it be cool if you started to make a relationship with a couple nice people who are on the other side of that computer screen? When you send an email, you're sending it to a person. So start to think about who's in your audience and what are the ways that you can connect. Let me give you some examples. Let's say you want to reach out to Alex Stern and let him know that he's awesome, by the way. And you want to tell him, I loved your session. Alec works on McDonald's and lots of other fun projects. We've done a couple of spots with him. But let's say you just want to reach out. You want to make it super short. Hey, Alec, this is a good way to start emails. This is only going to take 30 seconds. I just want to let you know, I loved what you said about blah, blah, blah. That was great. And I'm just curious, what's your favorite pizza place in Chicago? Boom, boom. That's a good moment. Because when you ask somebody a question that has nothing to do with anything other than 2 humans, right? It's an easy thing to respond to, super easy, and it's fun to respond to that. People like to talk about things that they associate pleasure with. So now this person's writing back, oh, you got to try such and such in Water Tower, off of Lakeshore, whatever, next time you're here. And now he just associated going there the last time and how fun it is and how much he loves their deep dish pizza, right? And he thought that was cool that you took an interest in Chicago because he lives in Chicago, right? And then at the end, so you're like, just want to let you know, super appreciate it. Love being in this program. Love what you said. Quick question. I want to be in Chicago one day, or I'm planning a trip there, or I was there, or whatever, or I just think Chicago is so cool. And I'm making this up. I can give you several others. Like, it has to be genuine. But this is the kind of thing. What's your favorite pizza place? You know, something like that. And then you say back, no rush on reply. I know you're super busy. Don't have to respond. When people say you do not have to respond, what you are showing is empathy and confidence. Okay. Don't respond. No rush on reply, right? Now it's like, oh, I can reply. I can write back to that, right? And then you write back and you say, oh my God, I have to try that pizza, right? Or you send back a GIF of some like Chicago thing, and you just find a loop there, right? Something that's genuinely relatable to that thing. And now you just kind of check in once in a while, and there's a little bit of like there's a thread that's being woven together, right? And you say something like, so cool, thanks for responding, you know, like I'll stay in, you know, like, and then you write back a couple weeks later or a month later and you're like, so-and-so is blah, 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 something related to that maybe. And then you say, by the way, you said on that first call that we should think about da-da-da-da-da. So I'm working on a song like that. I just want to say thanks again for that because it's helping me in my process. Oh, cool. Maybe you ask another question, right? Now you ask another question. What recently is the thing you've been listening to the most, like personally? Is it different what you listen to on your own time than what you do in work? No rush on reply. You just keep this going. Back, forth, back, forth. What you're trying to do is just keep that volleyball going back and forth because that's making a relationship. So now imagine you've been doing that, and you've been doing that, let's say, with like 6 people, and you know that this is feeling good. It's doing so much for you. What's it doing? Number 1, it's making it feel really possible to start to make a relationship with people. And number 2, you're seeing that they're real people, and it feels really good every time they respond, right? And then you start thinking, cool, I've been like planting all these seeds and nurturing and just depositing and making this land rich. And when it comes time for this song to be done, I'm going to send it over. And I'm going to send it over because I know there's a little bit of a camaraderie here. And I'm going to say, you totally, you know, no rush on reply. This was the kind of song based on, you know, sort of either what you said in the class, or if it's not that thread, let's say this is somebody totally different and you haven't heard from them in the class and you've done a different kind of volley. Maybe you're like, I was watching the kind of projects that you work on and I'm so impressed, and I've been behind the scenes like trying to like write the music that I think you really need. No rush on reply, but I'm totally available for constructive feedback because I'm a growth oriented person. So if you listen to 20 seconds, you have one thing that you think is like, you know, definitely needs to be changed, I'm happy to, you know. But at that point, it's a very different question because for every 7 deposits, this is the way we found that it works with interpersonal relations. Every 7 deposits, you can make a withdrawal. So if you started to deposit some positive energy into this person and there's more glue than just complete cold, right? It's different when you ask that question now, right? Especially if you're sort of thinking ahead of time. And you always, always, always want to ask a question that is an easy thing to respond to. What most people do, and when I say most, I mean everybody. Like, I mean like 99.9%. What most people do is they don't ask questions. There's no lead-in. There's no business development. And they just send homework. My name is Paul Smith, and these are all the things I've ever done since I was a child that make me credible. I was in this band. I did this. I had this record. They talk about themselves, paragraph. I wrote 15 songs. Here's a link. I would love to know what you think. Thanks in advance. And the person's like, delete, fatigue, nothing. This is most people. It's actually so awesome that this is most people because you stand out so easily. Okay, so you want to think right now about planting seeds and making relationships so that you're ready. If you were going to paint these walls, right, what do you put on first? Primer. You don't just paint the wall. Because if you just go to paint the wall, the paint doesn't absorb well, you don't get the same sheen, and it's kind of a waste, right? You rushed it. Things need to be primed so that they're actually ready. When you bake a cake, what do you do with the oven? You preheat it, right? You don't just stick it in the oven. It's not ready. It's not ready. So what's interesting about me is I'm like such a quick start because I'm like, let's go. And I get what needs to happen in order for it to actually go. It has to be a reverse engineering of like, Ultimately, what I want is for Alex Stern to be a person who I have as a client, who I send music to. So I need to first make a relation with Alex Stern. So I need to first know even that who is the Alex Stern? Oh, I need this person. These are the people who are be my client. Okay, so he's one of them. Okay, so how can I be genuine and cool? And how can I be casual in my emails and not talk about myself and just start to plant seeds before I ever ask him to do something for me, which makes no sense. Does that make sense? You guys getting it? So it's a really good time for you to think about doing the priming, preheating the oven. Now, here's the second part. At the beginning of the call, I said we're going to talk about business development, and we're going to talk about what actually is going to help you to get the results. Everything I just said is gold, you guys. It's literally what people are like, how do you have famous people on your podcast? How have you done that since the same way, the exact same way? No, to me, it's always like, who do you want to meet? That's like a game I love to play with people. Like, I'll get to anybody. I'll get you know, what was that movie? It was like Win a Date with Drew Barrymore or something like that. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I'll get in. I'll get in because everyone is just a friend away. You're just a friendship away from it. So it's like, you got to make the friendship, find a way, be cool, be kind, be courteous, get in there, right? Unless a person's just a jerk, it's like really, then it's just really, really hard. But most people are really available for kindness all the time and respect. And when people are respectful and kind, it usually really stands out, especially if they're kind and they go, that was different. What are you about? Right? And then when you're really actually truly smart and you care and you're ready for a real relationship that's like a human, mature relationship, you really make friends. And that's my whole life, my entire career. I don't have a dad with a famous last name, don't have a trust fund, don't have parents in the music business, don't have parents in the podcasting business. Like, everything's cold. And I like it that way. It's actually fun. But here's the thing. In order for me to do any of that, something has to happen first. What is it that makes us take action? Writing the songs, co-writing, sending the emails. What makes us do any of it? What is responsible? What is responsible for us doing any of that? So Jesse said knowing the why, John said pressure. Elaine, you're really, really right there. Yeah. So she said belief that you have something to offer. And I would say belief that you know you have something to offer, but also belief that it's possible. How many people, just curious, how many of you have bought a lottery ticket and how many people have never bought a lottery ticket? Just raise your hand if you bought a lottery ticket. Okay, so a bunch of you have. How many of you have bought one every single week? No, I've never bought one. You know why? I don't believe it. I know it happens, but I know the odds are so small, so I'm not going to spend $2. I'm not going to spend $2 a week. I have $2 a week. I'm not going to spend it. Not happening. I don't believe it. Right? So when we believe in what's there, if I called you and said, I just got back from a meeting with the California lottery and they told me where it is. It's these numbers and, you know, there's one scratcher that's at this 7-Eleven and you can get it and da-da-da-da-da, or you can use these numbers and you'll either win the whole thing or you'd be like, are you sure? And I'm like, totally, I just know. You'd go and do it if someone knew for sure. 100%. You're not stupid. Of course you'd go do it. But you don't know, so you don't do it. So that's smart because you don't do it. And then there's other things, right? Like if you believe that you die if you went on an airplane, you're not going. You're not stupid. You're not going to get on an airplane. But you don't believe you're going to die because you're like, thank God, you know, it happens so seldomly. Like the last time, God forbid, knock on wood, but the last time you hear, you know, this stuff happening, you remember where you were when you heard it because thank God, like there's thousands of flights going right now, right? People are flying all over the world. and they're getting there safely. And thank God that is the way that it goes 99% of the time. So you get on a plane, you make those flights, you make those things happen, no problem. That's not going to stand in your way, right? So when you think about what's actually possible for yourself, and you think about that next question is like, do you even have what they want to offer? That's where everything collapses. And that's it. And so you can sit here for the next 5 months, which I'm excited that we have, more time together. And you can think about, all the things we're saying, and you're about to meet Hunter George, who's the executive director of the Music Revision Guild. He's coming in next month. He's literally he is in charge of all the music supervisors, right? This is what he does. Every day he's in touch with them. He's kind, he's cool. He wanted to come. He reached out to me. Can I come and talk to your group? Like, he's like legit, been a music supervisor, then went on to like be, one of the kings of the music supervisors. He's a great guy. So you're going to meet everybody. You're going to hear what they have to say. And because of that, you have then potential to then follow up in a way that most people don't, because you've heard them directly in this kind of setting, and they have a lot of respect for this program and me, and you can piggyback on that and you can do all those things, and you can hear from us directly, and I can talk to you about strategy, and you can even get submission opportunities, right? And none of it works and none of it matters unless you actually believe in what's possible and you believe in yourself. And that is truly what most people do not want to admit. It's much more sexy to say, it's not that, none of that. The reason is because I didn't have the resources, or I didn't know, I didn't have the right producer, or it would have been, my teacher failed me, or, somebody didn't tell me something, and that's it. And that's all gross. It's not true. So full accountability. But here's the thing. Just like the primer that you prime to have a relationship with someone, what makes you think that you don't need to prime yourself for success? It's amazing to me. Imagine you go buy this thing. You spend, what does it cost now? $1,200 or something nuts? Okay, you spend $1,200. You leave. And 3 days later, you walk back into the Apple store or AT&T, wherever you buy it, and you go, you sold me a lousy product. And they're like, I don't get it. What's going on? And you're like, it doesn't turn on. And I've been looking at it for 3 days, and I've tried everything. It doesn't work. And it's garbage. And they would be like, hold on. It comes with a charger. Did you charge it? And you're like, I left here. It was charged 100%. Don't you remember? You handed me a 100% charged phone. And they're like, great. You have to charge it every day. Sweet genius. Like, you have to charge your phone every day, right? Your phone doesn't just work without being charged. Does it? Does anything run without gas? Anything run without charge? Does the Tesla's amazing. I just test drove it. That thing doesn't work unless you charge it. She's like, there's all the charging stations here. She's showing me all over the world. I was like, God, they've thought of everything. And she's like, but you have to make sure if you run out, you got 3 hours for every gallon. If you go to Vegas, by the time you get to Vegas, you have to have stopped one time. You know that, right? You have to stop at least 20 minutes by the time here. I was like, oh, okay. Even Tesla doesn't have that figured out, right? We got to charge it. Like, there is a reason things work. So plants need sunlight. Human beings need food and water, but that's really not the way human beings actually accomplish things. We don't need just food and water. We need energy. So how many of you can think of, don't tell me who it is, can think of one person in your life who drains your energy? I'm sure you know somebody. Don't say who it is. So I have a few of those people. Yeah, he's like, this person. I am surrounded by these people. I grew up with these people. It's very difficult. Very difficult. You wouldn't believe how simple it is for people to just it's like, I'll talk to my parents and I'm like, it's so simple. It's this. No, I don't see it. I'm like, okay, this is it. So it's been like great training ground for me. My mom is manic depressive, bipolar. My dad's an alcoholic, narcissist, also deaf, can't hear anyway, can't even hear literally. It is crazy town. And he left when I was 12 and he's like in his own world, and it's like very draining. takes a lot of energy. So I have to show up. I have to have extra. If I'm going to be around them, I have to have so much extra so I can just give to them, because I don't want them to not have a relation. But I am on. Like, I can't be like, I can't just go in hoping that they're going to bring energy. It doesn't happen. Like, I'm telling you, it doesn't happen. My mom's off her meds. It's a hard thing. It's really, really hard. Okay. So there are people that drain your energy. Now, you don't have to write it in the chat because we don't have time, but think of a person who lifts you up. Think of a person who gives you energy. Think of a thing you do that gives you energy, an activity, a song, a run, a meditation, a workout, a friend, a phone call. Oh, you're so sweet. You. All right. Thank you. Well, that, at the end of the day, like, that's why you chose to be in this program. That's really, really it. Like, that is actually my mission, is to give other people energy. Pretty simple. And what that means is, I not only want to have enough for myself, but I want to have an extra amount for you, okay? And I want to help you reroute so that you figure out your own process so that you can do this for yourself and create that belief for yourself every single day. I know that every one of you has a few iPhone chargers. There's one by your bed, there's one in the car, there's one in the living room, because you're so aware of how this thing runs. And we are so obsessed with these things. We are way too obsessed. I am 100% guilty. I'm on this my team's like, it's 4:20 in the morning. I'm like, I'm on my phone, always. So good or bad, right? This is the culture, and I'm obsessed with work. So I'm always on my phone. So my phone, I get anxiety if I'm stepping into an Uber and my phone is on 42%, I'm anxious. I need to ask the Uber, do you have a charger in your car, right? So imagine every time I go to New York City and I know I'm going to be on my feet all day long, you leave your hotel, you're out all day. Like, that's New York, that's it. You're out all day. I'm always like, shoot. I always wind up going into Duane Reade and buying an extra power thing. I'm like, why didn't I bring it? Why? Because I will not leave that to chance. I'm not just going to float around the day and go, it's 3:15, my phone is dead. I can't live with that. I physically get anxious thinking about any of you. If your phone is on low battery and you walk out for the day, it makes me sick. It's a problem, but I get anxious for you. I'm like, your phone is going to die. It's as if like a part of you is like not going to be awake. It's scary. So why don't we do that for ourselves? Why do we expect that you're just going to wake up and you're going to be like, I am lit? You're not going to be. That's a guarantee, because your mind was created as this amazing machine. You know what your number one goal is in your mind? Who knows? What's the job of your brain? Does anyone know? It has a job, and it does its job really well. Yes, that's it. Your brain was made to keep you safe. So what does your brain do? It's constantly scanning for danger. Constant danger, 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 right? So it used to be so helpful, because it would be like, wait, I see those tracks. There's a saber-toothed tiger coming. I'm going to run the other way. Because we're tiny compared to tigers and bears, right? So God, or whatever you want, I'm a big God person, but some people aren't, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, evolution, you want to work with that, gave us a really big brain so that we could outsmart the things that were physically bigger than us, right? So all it's doing is assessing danger, worrying. Who's good at worrying? Me. I'm so good at it. And here's the thing, the smarter you are, if you were like in the evolutionary camp of the people who like kept being bred, it's because you're really good at solving problems, which means you worry more. Congratulations. Good for you. You worry more than everyone else. Okay. So I'm Jewish, okay? Like, I'm surrounded by people who've like for centuries been worrying, right? Like to escape persecution. So I'm surrounded by neurotic, worrying people. Like, that's like, why are you still here? We're the ones who worried better. So we're saved. We figured our way out. So we worried through all the generations. So we worry, we stress. So every day you want to know you're waking up worried. You're not waking up lit. I'm telling you this right now. This is a gift. Sunday, September 22nd, this is a gift. That means you want to be ahead of that. Okay? That means you are going to know, I'm listening to what Cathy's saying. What is going to determine your actions is your belief in what's possible, your belief in yourself. That means every single day you're going to charge your phone. You need to charge yourself. You need to commit to that right now. If you're not committed to that, I guarantee you, you're going to fall down. You're going to fall. You're going to hit the dip. You will. I guarantee it. Probably a little bit every day. So you can either sludge through that, or you can say right now, she's right. Every time I talk to her, I feel a little bit of a lift. Then it goes away a couple hours later, a couple days later. That's correct. It doesn't last, right? It's not the kind of thing you can't charge the Tesla and it's good forever. It doesn't last. It never does, because we metabolize things, and energy and emotion is energy in motion. So it's always moving through you, and it comes and goes, which is actually why it's good to know sad things come and go. So does joy though too, right? You'll be feeling so good. I want to capture it. Here, it's done. It doesn't last 3 weeks. It just doesn't. Okay, that's fine though, because that's the way the energy works. So that's fine. So this is what you want to understand, right? Which means every single day, make a plan. How are you going to charge your batteries in the morning? It's not one size fits all. You don't have to meditate if you don't like to meditate. I used to meditate and I realized I really hate it. So I don't meditate anymore. I did it for years. Like I would sit down for years in silence. And I was like, I have to learn to do this. Otherwise I'm not an evolved person. And I realized it just actually makes me more anxious. Sometimes it was good. A lot of times. So now I do other things. I have a playlist of a few songs. I'll get up in the morning. I'll be like, oh God. And then the third song comes on, Meghan Trainor. And I'm like, I'm feeling better, right? I'm starting to feel better. I'll write things out, morning pages, just get out all the negativity. I can't do it. I'm nothing. I'm worthless. He's annoying. This won't work. Blah, blah, blah. And I get it out and it sort of evaporates. And by the end, I'm like, that's good. I vented it out. And by writing it, I realized that's garbage. That's not true. Because I'm logical. So when I actually wrote it down, it was like, it's like popping like a bubble. Like, you blow bubbles, you pop it, it's gone. Sometimes thoughts feel like that. Just write it down. As soon as you do, it's like, boom, that's not true. That's just some stupidity that my brain just wants to crank out. Your brain really, really wants to be stimulated. So actually the best thing that I do is get busy doing something. So I get busy doing my podcast. I get busy planning curriculum. I get busy having an amazing meeting. I get busy doing business development. And my brain is like, this is way more stimulating than that. And I give my brain bigger problems to solve. Like, how am I going to figure out how to show up for this person? How am I going to anticipate what my class needs? Who are we going to have next to come into the program? Like, we're constantly, like, there's 16 burners. What else am I going to create? What else am I going to do to add value? My brain's like, oh, that's a better problem to solve. And I just give my brain better problems. And then what does happen is you create a new habit. Once you do something, right, 1 time is a dot, twice is a line, 3 times it's a pattern. Do you know that that's how it works? So if you see something once, it's just random. If you see it twice, it made a little bit of a line. If it's 3 times, scientists will go, oh, that's a pattern, which means it's a prediction of what's to come, right? So if you start to do things like it's Sunday, right? If you do something Monday, if you do something Tuesday, and you do it Wednesday, by Thursday, your brain's like, that made a mark. It starts to make a neural pathway, and you might start to do those things now. So for me, I've been working on this since 2006, where I started going to the Mindful Awareness Research Center at UCLA. And then I did an Artist Way retreat. And then I started doing therapy. And then I started my work. And then I started working more. And the more I worked on myself, it just was like a this until it really became habitual. So now I get lit faster because it's habit. And I have all these things that my whole life is these habits, right? Basically. My entire life is now habits that plug me back in. But I hit a wall all the time. I'll hit a wall like at 4 o'clock usually, because I've kind of like front loaded my day with tons of energy. Now I'm getting tired. I didn't eat enough probably. My kids are about, I just pick up my kids. I feel a little bit overwhelmed, and then I start to hit a wall. So I have to sort of reboot at that time. So I've been thinking actually for myself, what can I do at 4 o'clock every day to reboot? Because I feel like I lose a couple hours every day because I hit a wall energetically. So I've been working on that. So we need to charge our batteries. The more you believe something, the more you're going to go do it. Then you go do it. And then what do? You actually need to do business development. So it's 2 things. You want to serve those people. That's really it. That's the question you're trying to answer, right? That's the question we're answering in this class, is how do I license my music, which means who's my music for and how do I serve that person, which means I got to make a relationship with that person and get them the right music. That's it. So your job is working your music, honing your craft, working your music, honing your craft with an intention in mind, with the direction, with some feedback, with the right collaboration, with that accountability. That's all going to help you get that music made correctly, well, intended, all that. And then there's a big second part here, which is equal to the first part, which most people completely ignore. The relationship with the person that you're actually sending the music to. You want to have as many soldiers on the ground flying your flag. So in order to do that, it's ideal, right? Like, do you know how easy and sick it would have been, how easy and not cool it would have been for me to be like, so you come through our program and then you sign with us exclusively. And then every time someone comes into the program, don't worry, we'll follow up. We'll sign you exclusively. Don't reach out on your own. That's not the best thing for you. It's cool for us, but it's not really cool for us because I couldn't sleep at night if I thought that you weren't out there pushing your own music and having other agents also. Don't let people tell, like, I'm an artist. Like, don't let people tell you can't have. Of course you can. Most songs are represented by a couple people because a lot of times, even if you're indie, you have two writers and this one has this agent and this one has this agent. And it's okay. Everyone's surviving it. It's fine. This is life. You need to be your own agent though, because no one is going to think about you every day as much as you do. Who does? How would you expect that, right? So every day you wake up and you want to be making sure your belief is at 100% charge, and then you're directing your energy on what actually matters, right? So a lot of people say, like, I'm working so much, it's not happening. But most people are just busy. That doesn't mean they're actually effective. You shouldn't be busy all day you shouldn't be just checking email all day long. If you could spend 90 minutes a day, you'll be crushing it. So spend 45, but on the right stuff. Spend 45, a couple emails directed at the right people. That'll take 15 minutes. And then spend 30 minutes listening to the right song, getting with your accountability group, getting charged energy-wise, working on some lyrics, listening for things that you're going to give you help for what you're going to create next. Make sense? And you'll be way ahead. When I say way ahead, I mean completely in a different galaxy ahead. What most people do is they believe very little about themselves, which means they take very little action. And then the action they do take is like monumental. And they go, I did so much because it felt like so much because they didn't believe at all in themselves or in the world. So if the fact that they did even that feels like Herculean, and then they complain about what's not happening because they haven't even made the relationships. It took every ounce of energy they had to send one email to a person. And what they did in the email is everything I just told you not to do. And they say, this industry is dead, and they leave, which means there's so much room for you. Because I've been doing this for 16 years, and I'm telling you, most people just don't know how to do business, and they don't believe in themselves, and they don't show up for their craft, and they don't lean into mediocrity, so they don't even get to song 8 because they're so upset that the second song they didn't make it, right? That's garbage. So I had all of this on my heart today, and I was like, I'm so excited to share it. And so we are doing a session at 4:30. So this is basically what I'm sharing today. So you don't need to come back at 4:30 because you heard it, but I'll share this with the folks at 4:30. It might be a little different though, because obviously I'm not using a script. But that's what I really felt I had to say. So I'm going to just quickly, I have to jump off soon. Oh, you're so sweet with the thank you. Thanks, John. John, you're always so kind. You stand out to me. Doesn't he stand out, everybody? I mean, if you're in the class, you know he stands out because he's constantly doing cool stuff like this and making graphics and showing up in the thread. And believe me, when you stand out, you stand out. And there's a few of you that like always are like there, positive. And by the way, stay away from anyone who's complaining because you become the sum of the 5 people you're around most. And we notice that in every cohort, there's like 6 people who drift together. and they feed off each other and they let each other be victims and then they hurt each other. It's not really helpful. But this class, thank God, has so much positivity. I don't see that going on. I just see so much goodness. But I'm telling you, we've done this many, many times. And usually like it's towards the end and people have looked at what they haven't done and they don't want to look at it. So they're like, this is this and this is this. And really it's just, I don't believe in myself. I don't know how to believe in what's possible for me. Thank you. I love this hoodie too. You're making me think that we should do like a giveaway of Aviator Nation hoodies, something like that. Anyway, so tell me in the chat, James and Adrian and Tom, you have your hands up, but I don't have time to listen to each one of you, but I will. What are your questions? Can you type them in the chat real fast? And I'll hang on a second so I can see your questions. And then maybe I can respond. And I know that there's been a bunch of questions, but I haven't been able to look at every single thing. Oh, awesome. Okay, so I'm sure there were like a ton of questions, but I was just like talking directly to you, so I wasn't looking. But what I do want to say as far as homework goes is, yeah, there's two things for homework. Number one, most important thing, I'm going to post this in the thread and you can comment underneath it. What are you going to do that's going to be your iPhone charger? Like pick something and make sure it happens. And when you're in your accountability group, you guys should check in with each other about if they've been doing that. And you should be honest, because if you're not, maybe you can get some coaching from your friends around how to make sure you get it done. Or maybe somebody else in your group has a better idea that might be better. Because sometimes we come up with these things like, I'm going to take a run every day. And then you don't. And then you're like, now I just feel I'm mad at myself about something else. We don't want you to feel bad about yourself. We want you to just find something that's going to work for you every single day. I find that listening to people who have energy is really helpful. So maybe you can find a podcast, and there's a million, right? Like maybe you can follow, there's so many different people, Gary Vee, this guy, Evan Carmichael, maybe make a playlist. And also what I've done, like you'll notice, I think I have like 26,000 followers on Instagram. I only follow like 200 people. I keep my feed super positive. So that really helps too, because I know I'm going to go on social media within 4 minutes of waking up. So I like set it up so that there's tons of motivational stuff on my Instagram feed, and I've gotten rid of everyone else. And I said to my friends, it's not to be rude. I'm just not using it for that. I'll talk to you on text. That's also just a really great thing to do. Like just get rid of everything that's dragging you down, right? If you want to keep a few close friends and family because you want to check in, great, keep them. Everyone else, let it go so you can keep your feed really thin. And then look at like 6 accounts, like my account's super positive. You can even look at some of the people that I follow, but like look at, fill your feed with people who really fill you up. And then even like post something every day that's positive, even just by you teaching the thing you need to teach yourself, that would help too. That might be all you have to do. You don't have to run a mile and meditate for 45 minutes. Like just do things that are good. So that's number 1 piece of homework. Number 2 piece of homework is I would like to see you draft an email that you're going to send to one person, right? You already have a few people, those of you who've been, showing up at these sessions or watching replays. There's already a few right here. That's low-hanging fruit, people who come into the class, right, who you could follow up with. And if you don't want to do that, then pick a person who might be in your audience, right? Who is it? And show us a sample of that, and then send one email. And this is easy because this is just you sending good vibes into the world. You're not asking someone to do anything for you. You're not asking for a sale. You're not pushing a song. You don't have to have a song that's ready. No excuses, because you don't need anything other than love. You're just sending a good vibe into the world. I used to think to myself, at the very least, I know that I'm going to be that songwriter that every time my name comes in the email box, they're going to be like, oh, this is going to be sweet. This is going to be nice vibes, right? She's actually going to care. And then I became the songwriter who would find out things that had nothing to do with the music. And I would check in and say, how's your grandmother? I know you went to Michigan to visit her. Or what happened with the wedding? when Alec got married, and then his wife and I became friendly. And then she started listening to my podcast. It's just like cool. Like you start connecting with people. And I knew that I could just check in, and people really love it when you check in because you don't need something. You know, you read Adweek, start reading Adweek, just read headlines. You don't have to read all the articles, and you can check in with someone and be like, I just read this article about you. And you're like, you know, you guys were given the Clio. Congrats, that's awesome. You know, you should feel so proud of it. And then ask one quick question. I've never been to Minnesota. What's your favorite thing about it? What's the best time of year to visit? It doesn't have to be even about that. You could say anything, you know, like anything at all, right? Anything at all, anything at all. You know, like maybe you follow the person on Twitter and they have a chocolate lab and you're like, I love your dog. I also have a dog. I'm such a dog fan. And my best friend has a chocolate lab. I mean, anything. What's your favorite this? Or do you have any dog parks? How do you deal with that when it's freezing outside? Anything at all. Just send some love. Okay? So that's your homework. That's your homework. And this is what we're digging into today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I totally enjoyed it. This was so fun. And like I said, I made the time today 4:30 because I felt bad. We had done a couple sessions at noon, and most of the weekly sessions are in the middle of the day. And we were getting tons of feedback from students who are in different time zones and in Australia who were like, I literally can never make the class then. And we did say that one of our goals starting out was to try to switch it up. So that's why I changed it to 4:30, but we got to have some extra time just now. I will be on again at 4:30, but I'll be going over the same stuff. So you do not have to come back, but I'm glad you were here for this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel all the thanks. And yeah, we will post that homework, and please meet with your accountability groups. You're so sweet. Please meet with your accountability groups because it's everything. Like what I'm hoping to do by the end of this is to teach you this process. Not only to teach you how to craft the music and how to think about who you're reaching out to and then get to know some of those folks in the class and have a way in with them. I'm hoping to teach you how to work your own process, and part of that is keeping yourself accountable. If you look at my Voxer, I'm in 3 peer-led accountability groups, okay? This one is called The 7 Rays. There's a bunch of women in this who are like other podcasters. This one, this is our Ojai group. We all went to Ojai. My friend Emily, I meet with them once a month, and we Vox each other all the time, every week. And if it wasn't for that, it's a little extra harder, right? So it's like, I want you to use all these resources, and you have each other for this time. So please meet up with each other, and then go over this with each other and keep each other supported. And remember, as good as you feel right now and you're fired up, you're probably not going to feel this way tomorrow at 3 p.m. So make sure that you set the charger up. Set the charger up and care as much about your career and as much about yourself and as much about your life as you do about your stupid iPhone, right? Like, care and understand that you're not weird and you're not alone. The fact that you're worrying all the time, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain's working well. That's what it's supposed to do. In fact, the more you worry, you come from a long line of people who are good at solving problems, and you learn how to do that even better, right? And then there's some people who are struggling with mental illness, and that sucks. And I know a lot about that in my family. But we have to get ahead of it, no matter what it is. You have to get ahead of it. Don't think of yourself as being awful and weird. You're normal. You're more than normal. So if you know that, then be smart about it and be like, I need to charge myself and get myself pumped up and remember what's possible and why I started, but what's possible. And remember that when you're reaching out to people, you're just there to be in service. You were built to serve. You're not asking for things. You're generous. And that's going to give you the ability to push ahead. Okay? Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week. And I look forward to talking to you soon and watching all the good action in the class, because I always watch every single day what's going on. So keep feeding each other with all this good energy, and I'll talk to you guys soon.